I am back in China. I'm finally back. I was away from China for 2 weeks. It was the longest 2 weeks of my life. And I'm here in Beijing. I'm gonna be here for a few days and then go back to Wuhan. I had a really long flight. I didn't sleep. I'm very exhausted, very hungry. So I'm gonna start my Beijing journey with some local cuisine. I'm gonna eat in this very popular roast duck restaurant. I'm sorry, but that just looks terrifying. The wait's on the hook. This guy looks so professional, but he kind of reminds me of Alfredo Linguini from the movie Ratatouille. I thought this was cheese, but this is tofu. That's coming next.
Here it is, the most popular dish of Beijing, roast duck. I would have never guessed in Beijing they eat roast duck. And look, this restaurant is so bougie. They put a food on the meat. Look how nicely it's prepared.
We got many dishes in this restaurant, and I'm gonna be honest, the Beijing food is crazy delicious. I heard foreigners really like Beijing food. I see why. Got some good desserts as well. I low-key ate it already. It turns out you put the roast duck in a wrap, okay? You know, I wanted to get a pizza earlier. I was like, I need energy, I'm really tired, let me get a pizza. Worst idea of my life. This is way better than a pizza.
清酱肉丝烤鸭烤肉
I'm an honest person, I don't lie. This roast duck, it's crazy. I've had many good Chinese food in my life. I think this might be one of the best. Like, it's crazy. Most of my life I only eat chicken, that's it. Like, I wouldn't even consider eating a duck, but this is cooked so well, or roasted so well.
And for some reason the restaurant also give bones, and these are just straight up bones. I don't know, like in my country we throw this out or in Serbia we give this to the dog, but here we eat bones too.
Look, in China the restaurants care so much about their customers. Since the roast duck was a little late, they gave us free yogurt, and this was free too, just because they were a little late. And in this restaurant, if the food doesn't taste good, you don't have to pay. It tastes better since it's free. These are streets of Hutong. Up next, I explore the center of Beijing. But instead of skyscrapers and shiny new buildings, I found narrow alleyways and entire neighborhoods that look frozen in time. These are Beijing's hutongs, historic neighborhoods that survived as the city around them was rebuilt and modernized. Long story short, the center of Beijing is ancient and the outskirts are super modern. Definitely not what I expected. I think the best way to explore the ancient streets of Beijing is with a bike. Gonna see all these hutongs.
So this is an average street in China. Cherry blossom, unlocked bikes because it's a high stress society.
Tell me a better way to explore Beijing than this. Who needs a car? Just need a bike. You need a bike and Alipay so you can pay for it.
I think other people have the same idea too, not just me.
The traffic in Beijing is no joke. I used to rule the world. Okay, here's stop one. Some Chinese hutong.
Oh my goodness. Also, Beijing has these hop-on, hop-off buses, like in London.
Obviously, Beijing is a pretty ancient city, not the newest of cities. So there's going to be a lot of architecture like this. I think some guy's following me. He wants to give me a ride, but I don't want to.
Here's one Hutong. Would you think this is the capital city? Like the contrast. Look at this.
1 minute you're beside skyscrapers, you're beside one of the most modern cities in the world, and then next minute wow, there's some parrots as well. But something that you probably wouldn't expect is that these hutong houses are actually very expensive. Most of them look very run down, but in fact these are historical. These have historical significance, and also it's in central Beijing, so the location is very good. They might look run down on the outside, like this one, but in the inside they're very modern. So it's an illusion. It looks poor, it looks ancient, but inside it's modern. So a foreigner might come along and think, oh, this is the ghetto, this is the hood. Well, in fact, it's just rich people. It's just rich people.
Look at the street. Street of millionaires.
Okay, the price is mostly because this is very central Beijing. If you go a bit out, of course, they're not expensive. But here we're so central that the location gives it a hefty price.
Look at this. This looks very nice.
This is also a rich Hutong resident. Look at that entrance.
Look at these public toilets in the Hutong streets too. Never seen them like that. I thought that was a real grandma. Like, that took me a minute. Each street has a different style of Hutong. I'm here, I'm beside the toilets, and we have Banchan Hutong here, and different style Hutong here, and here's a Seng mansion. This needs to be seen. Seng mansion. I don't know how much of a mansion this is.
Some emperor, some king's mansion. Okay, his castle. Okay. The functionality must have changed.
The forms of transport in this city.
Beijing is such an interesting city because the most modern and the most ancient is blended together so well. It's like 1 minute you're beside a G-Wagon, next minute you're beside some ancient vehicle that you've never seen before. Again, if I showed you this surrounding and you were to guess where I am with all these wires above me, I don't think you would say central Beijing. I think central Beijing would be your last guess. If this came up on GeoGuessr, I would be losing the round. Another interesting thing about this area is the wealth gap is insane. You see this building? This building is a very, very wealthy family. And then on the other side, some rundown alley. It's because in there, many families live. They share the rent, they share the prices. But here, one wealthy family bought a huge area, and apparently some of these houses go for hundreds of millions of yuan. And another interesting thing is these streets are filled with public toilets, and the reason there are so many outside toilets is because back in the day people didn't have toilets inside. All the toilets were outside, they were shared. That's where people were having their showers, and they kept their tradition. Again, in China, everything is shared.
Would you consider this a rich or poor family?
But China keeps surprising me. I had no idea these neighborhoods even existed before coming here. There's so much unique things in every city. On this main road though, there are way too many foreigners. China is changing. It doesn't even feel like China anymore. I feel like I'm back home in Europe.
The street food in Beijing. That's just some lemon tea. These are huge, you can't tell, but they're massive.
Whoa, how he? How he? Beijing how he? Average souvenir shop.
Look at this, this is cream stored in shells. These are sick.
What do you think? Should I get it? I got it! Can you tell that I'm a tourist? And actually this shirt says Tian Tian Shang Shang, which means every day is going to get better, and that's my mindset, you know, positive mindset. So I'm spreading positivity wearing this t-shirt too.
Oh, Wuhan has the exact same gold shops. They're copying Wuhan. Horses are still absolutely everywhere.
Okay, these souvenir shops are getting out of hand. They're actually getting out of hand. What is going on?
Tell me this is not the most Chinese setting you've ever seen. Like, everything is gold and red. Everything is gold and red, like everything. This is like the first second-hand store I've seen in China. Look, I have this exact same Patagonia top.
Everything in Beijing is vintage and antique. But Chinese people barely buy second-hand clothes because clothes in general are, you know, cheap already. There's no point in buying second-hand clothes.
More vintage shops. Look at this, old buildings. And and then actual old buildings.
This view is too beautiful. This is like a rooftop bar area. There's many bars up here. They're all decorated with neon lights, many statues. Oh yeah, Beijing is different.
Look. Wow. Beijing is just absolutely filled with these ancient buildings.
I have no idea what this building is. I thought it was a forbidden city. I thought it was Tiananmen Square, but it's neither. Just a random building in Beijing. That's Beijing.
Knock knock, is the emperor home?
Look on the other side, another just ancient building. The coolest building you've ever seen, look. This is Beijing. Just filled with the coolest buildings ever. Look at the background. Like, what are you even looking at?
Again, this is where the dragon scroll is, okay? This is where Kung Fu Panda went to get the dragon scroll, and it was an empty scroll. Spoiler alert. Okay, it turns out this building is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You know, I've been to many UNESCO World Heritage Sites at this point, but I always travel to them, you know. I'm like, okay, I'm going to this one UNESCO World Heritage Site. Here in Beijing, you just run into one. Look, this is the perfect license plate. Beijing and Mao. Let's get some snacks for tonight.
I don't know why in China many people walk around with their cats on their shoulder. What a good day. I can confidently say that Beijing is awesome and I'm gonna keep exploring it. I'll go to the Great Wall tomorrow.
But this wasn't actually my first time in Beijing. I had a transfer flight through the city, giving me just a few hours to explore. Except, I landed in the wrong city first, and the entire journey quickly turned into chaos.
I've just landed in Beijing. I'm gonna try see as much as I can of Beijing in 15 hours.
I'm just not in Beijing. Beijing is right there and I'm here. Why am I here? Linfen? Am I on the wrong plane?
Okay, turns out this is a transit flight. We need to change flights. We need to change planes. I've never seen this before. I was actually panicking. I'm like, I went to the to the worker. I'm like, excuse me, are we in Beijing? Because like, my map says otherwise, you know what I mean?
Okay, we just had to change planes.
I don't know why, but I was panicking because like nobody speaks English.
I was wondering, like, that was way too fast. 2 hours early. It's because I landed in the middle of nowhere in China.
Change planes, but we're supposed to sit in the same seat. But there's somebody else sitting beside me. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Landed again, this time actually in Beijing. It's a good start. It took me an hour to set up my mobile data. I had some serious connection problems. But now let's go into the city center. Let's go outside. Let's explore Beijing. I have no plans, but let's just see what this city is about. This airport is so big, even finding the bus. I tried to take the bus, but it's too complicated. I literally can't figure it out. So I'm like, I'll take the metro. So I go below ground. But apparently the metro in Beijing airport is on the second floor. I don't know how that makes any sense. So far Beijing is way more complicated than Wuhan.
You need to buy a ticket for the metro here. You can't use Alipay. Oh, this metro ticket is 25 yuan. That's like €3. That's very expensive. It's like I'm in a different country. Physical ticket. The subway is different. The subway starts from the second floor.
Two more metros to get into the city center. Beijing is too big.
But look at this metro station. It is beautiful.
And okay, to be honest, €3 to get to the city center from the airport, 50 kilometers. It's not that expensive. Subway number 2 complete. Subway number 3 complete. I'm in Tiananmen Square. I think that's the most popular place in Beijing, right? That was such a long journey. The second and third subway came out for a grand total of 38 cents. So I guess it's not that expensive.
Here it is in the distance, the most famous attraction in China.
It's pretty late and I need to make a reservation one day ahead, so I don't think I'm gonna get in. So remember, you need to make an appointment for Tiananmen Square one day prior. I'm in a new area. Apparently this area is fun, so I'll look around. Hopefully I don't need to reserve a day before just to be in this area.
The streets in Beijing are very wide, it seems like. Look at these shopping districts. Okay, absolutely stunning. And they had some greenery, they had some trees in the middle. Okay, I'll be honest, not many leaves on the tree, but it does give it some life.
Since I don't know what to do with myself, let's go to the most famous pedestrian street. I'm waiting for the bus, and the one thing that I don't understand about China is I don't know where it says when the bus is coming. There's no time on the app. There's no time anywhere. You just wait. 51 cents is what the ticket for this bus cost. China's doing something right. I'm approaching the main pedestrian street and it's starting to look more Asian, more Chinese.
This is apparently the main pedestrian street. And the first thing I'm noticing is a huge fake Big Ben.
The street yet again extremely wide. Feels like I'm on a field.
There's 3 zebra crossings. That's how wide the street is. Look at these malls, both sides of the street. Oh yeah, they know what's up. They have a Kung Fu Panda here.
Many places I've been in China, I always say this is a place Kung Fu Panda would be in. But he's actually here in Beijing. Is that a huge cathedral? There's a cathedral in city center Beijing.
Look at that. And it's beautiful too. I'm telling you, Beijing feels different. Every city in China is different. A statue of baby Jesus, I'm assuming. I did not expect this in China.
So churches are rare to find in China, but you find them in the city center of the capital city. Well, it's one of the most Christian countries in the world at the end of the day, isn't it? This is proof that China has 300 million Christians.
I think we may be in the year of the horse. I'm not sure though. Seems like there's a historical village here. Look at that in the background. This building just looks important. Okay, it's not a village. It's a huge building. This is probably where the king used to live. And it seems like there's double-decker buses here, like in London. This building too. Straight out of London or Rome. What is this city about?
Okay, it's getting dark and I'm literally just walking around aimlessly. It's such a big city. Today was just a taster for Beijing. This city feels like a capital city. You know, Wuhan is a huge city, but it doesn't feel like a capital city. It doesn't feel as important as it is here. Many tourists, many foreigners, obviously clean, beautiful. Again, don't need to repeat myself, that's normal for China. But yeah, I think I need to go back to the airport now. And I need to go back to Ireland, but just for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I'll be back in China and keep exploring this beautiful country.